if you guys noticed that we've changed the title music to the show.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some new music.
No, not you guys. I'm talking to the guys.
No, I'm just saying as well. I'm agreeing with we got some new music.
New title
Fresh
music.
beats.
I hope you guys like that, man. Trying to keep it old school. So yeah, as we promised, this is part 2 of Corny Movies of the 80s. We're going to go through some more. Our top 10 again. Again, films that were hyped up, films that were linked with big directors and producers and big Hollywood stars, and they still flopped. So let's get into it. Play that. Put that horn noise again, Chris. Put that horn noise. Give me that horn noise. So, George Lucas, the man behind Star Wars, the man behind Indiana Jones. He only directed a handful of films, but he would grab part of the Marvel universe with a character that a lot of Marvel fans probably not familiar with, but he did feature in one of the Guardians of the Galaxy films
recently,
at the end.
Yeah, there's a clip of it,
and they said they're going to remake a film of it, and that's Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck.
Do you ever see that, Stats?
Howard the Duck.
I think I might have done,
Howard the Duck, right? It's about a duck who lives on
Marvel's first film. I think, isn't it?
It lives in Duckland, and Duckland's just like here, but everyone's a duck.
Yeah, I remember now. They have, instead of Playboy, they got Duck Boy.
Yeah, Play Duck.
Play Duck. That was it, Play Duck. Yeah.
And it was just going into bars, just ducks doing everything humans do. Yeah. And his universe crashed with ours, and he landed on Earth, and he has to get back to his planet, but there's some demon who's coming to get them on Earth and destroy Earth, and he has to be the savior of the world. But even that sounds crazy. If you've never heard of it, and I'm explaining it to you now, ladies and gentlemen, you're thinking, what the hell
is he talking about? And they went all out on, not CGI effects, but the effects for the duck.
The effects for the duck, yeah.
They spent $2 million on this duck suit.
Yeah.
With the feathers and
it was a bad movie. And he had a relationship with a human lady.
Yeah.
Leah Thompson that played Mike McFly's mum.
I think she was Beverly. Beverly, the character's name.
And
this is the only Marvel film that's
they slept together.
Yeah,
she slept with a duck.
They slept with a duck. And where we were saying earlier, it had that Play Duck reference with the Playboy. I think there was another scene where he bit a girl's backside. This is the only Marvel film that's got sexual reference. She slept with a duck.
She slept with a duck, ladies and
gentlemen. The girl slept with a duck.
And this is a comic book film. It was a PG.
It was a PG, yeah.
Obviously, they didn't show having sex with the duck, but they were canoodling in bed.
Yeah.
With a duck.
With a duck.
Anyway.
It's a weird one.
It was a weird one, and it was a weird film.
They were saying as well, around the time of its release, George Lucas had just built his £50 million Skywalker Ranch complex, and he was counting on the release of this film to sort of scrape back some money for the expenses paid on building this super ranch to live in. And when it flopped, he was forced to sell off a lot of assets to try and pay back for the building of this ranch. And him and one of his friends at the time, Steve Jobs, they bought out the
brought out the Millennium Falcon. They brought out lightsabers. They brought out the sticker albums, Panini sticker albums. They bring out.
No, it was their animation division. It was to buy off part of the Lucas animation division, which that eventually became Pixar. So Steve Jobs and between George Lucas and Steve Jobs, that's what created Pixar.
What else we got, man? What else is corny, man?
A corny one. This is the film I kind of like, but actually this creeps in. It was done in '79, but I don't know if it was come out.
Yeah, it came out in '79, but we saw it
later.
So it kind of sticks in our 80s minds, and it's a kind of film where you've either seen it. If you've seen it then, you like it. But if you was to watch it now, if you was to play it to someone now, they'd be like,
nothing special.
What? This is like Starlight Express on trains. What are you trying to show me?
I like that.
And the only reference, that kept it alive was Bad Boy, come out to play.
Yeah.
And that's the Warriors.
That guy, the guy out of
that film. It's so dry.
Watching it now or when it came out?
watching it now.
Watching it now.
Did you watch it when it came out?
When it came out?
Nah.
Oh yeah,
I
you
watched
didn't watch
it-
any film in the 80s. So when did you watch it?
It was late
90s.
Yeah, I watched it early 90s, and I was less than
And was it
impressed.
hyped up to you?
Yeah, it was hyped up to be the best film ever.
Oh god.
And I remember my mate brought it round to watch it. We sat there and watched it and was like, "No, this is weak."
Is it Stanley Cooper? Is it Stanley Cooper? There's no.
I can't. I don't even know. But it's just the dialogue. It just looks like a Michael Jackson video again. It's the man from Commando.
He's in it.
It's the Warriors, man. It's the Warriors.
Sully.
Yeah. He was
He
the
is
main
that
guy.
dude, isn't it? The dude who blames the Warriors
Yeah.
for killing.
It looks like a cross between Starlight Express and you're playing Double Dragon. It looks like a real life version of Double Dragon.
That's where
Yeah, for real.
they based Double Dragon. on that. With the little purple
sleeveless
waistcoats.
jean
Yeah.
coats,
The little leather
bandanas, people on roller skates.
Woman with a chain.
Yeah, different crews.
So a hooker with a whip.
Yeah, hooker in purple.
But I think at the time, everyone was the baseball furies. You had all of these.
You had all these crews.
crews names and who did you like best? Which one would you
At
like?
the time, it worked because hip hop was evolving.
Yeah.
Hip hop was, so you remember hip hop back in the day was DJing, the graffiti.
This was them
MC,
days, wasn't it? The 70s.
and the dancing. So the whole culture of it, and the MCs, the whole culture. So it kind of fitted in, but it was in New York. There's different boroughs. You get on that train. So I understand the appeal to it. It's time of Beat Street and stuff. So I understand the appeal to it at that time, but it didn't stand the test of time, man.
But it's since become
lot of people would
cult film.
disagree with
It's a
that,
cult.
though.
I know a lot of
film.
people disagree with what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a cult film now.
But yeah, it's cult.
And it's had computer game spin-off. It's had comic book spin-offs.
Yeah.
and,
Eminem had a video based on that.
I remember when it did
film.
come out, it was like apparently it was causing vandalism and violence, but only with moviegoers on the way to and from watching Warriors. So I remember it's one of the first films that Paramount actually contacted. When they give a film to a cinema, that cinema has to play it X amount of times, whatever, a day or whatever. But they actually said, you know what, if you want to relax playing this one, you can leave it off if you don't want people smashing the cinema.
vandalise it.
You can not play it if you want.
But yeah, Double Dragon was definitely inspired by that film. It looks like Target Renegade.
It was getting from one state of New York, or one area of New York to another.
Because in them days, in America, and
the subway was
it was 24 hours,
only
and it was 24-hour service. So it's about one crew. They were accused of killing. What was his name?
Cyrus.
They killed Cyrus, man. So they had to get out of that
There was a
borough
lot of that going on
and
in
get to that borough.
Yeah.
And on the way, all these other crews heard about the Warriors
because
had
that woman
killed.
was blabbing it on the radio. But
Yeah,
I like that. I like
yeah.
the way the woman was telling the
the
story.
pirate radio.
You just saw the lips and the microphone.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I like
yeah.
that. I liked
So
it when it
there
came
was
out.
different crews along the way, and people getting arrested by undercover cops and all this going on. And then at the end was the.
But they were still trying to chirp girl. He had time to know this girl in the
yeah.
park. I'm going to
That's
chat
right,
to her. And then he gets handcuffed.
Yeah, and all
I
that
liked it when it
palaver.
come out.
When it come
When it
out,
come out, it was good. Looking at it now,
looking at when it come out.
It ain't all
Remember
that.
when it come out, your options were, 48 hours, Bronx Warriors,
Death Wish.
a Death Wish, Exterminator, Triple X films, the naughty films, Blue Movies, and
Top shelfers.
yeah, there wasn't some selection, so that stood out, and the poster stood out. You had the baseball, all the crews on this poster.
For me, I thought it was the Furies that attracted baseball.
Yeah.
That Fury. It was like, these
So,
guys are good.
but it's corny as hell. People, it looks like now that looks like Halloween.
Yeah, exactly. That's
People
Halloween.
wouldn't walk around like that now.
Yeah.
On Halloween, you might see people walking around like that, and that's why it's corny. But for me, I know it's a cult. It's got a cult following for people, but it didn't stand the test of time for me, man. It belongs in the 80s.
Yeah.
I agree.
There's not up to today's part.
But I heard they're gonna remake.
Yeah,
it.
I heard as well. There's a remake version due out.
I heard they're gonna remake it. Now, as we were going through our list, to choose to sieve down to our 80s movies, and you mentioned one, and is it 80s? Is it 80s? It's the first introduction to this guy. First saw him in a film called No Retreat, No Surrender. No Retreat, No Surrender. That could have been in the box of corny films. Should we throw it in? We're going to throw it in right now.
I feel like I've seen that.
No
I
Retreat,
can't
No
remember how it
Surrender.
goes.
Right?
What was it about again?
There was a video production called Video Entertainment.
Video
And they
Entertainment,
used
that's
to, you knew you was getting cheese from this production company. They were always churning out cheese.
Always on a budget. But
Cheese
like,
kung fu films, but
Yeah.
you know when kung fu was so popular,
Yeah.
anything.
Anything.
Any film with a flying kick on the front cover,
gotta watch
Yeah,
it.
and it's
you're
sold.
watching it.
Yeah.
You was addicted to
Yeah.
nunchuckers, flying
Yeah.
kicks, stars, tonfas. You was just into it.
You gotta watch it.
So entertainment and video just saw that market and just made any type of cheese.
I think that film also had. Didn't it have Sho Kozuki or
Sho Kozuki films, like-
which was he was a big ninja actor at the
Yeah,
time when
Mark-
all of
again,
his films were good.
Enter the
Whatever they were,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Enter the Dragon,
So-
Enter the Ninja. Or
So
whatever.
Entertainment Video had brought out this film called, because they want to bring more to Western market. So they made this film called No Drink No Surrender. It's about a guy, and he wanted to know kung fu. It was that Karate Kid feel.
Yeah.
He got bullied and stuff, but there was a big tournament going on, and the spirit of Bruce Lee came to his house and taught him kung fu. Yeah, and to fight this guy called Ivan Krasinski. And this guy was played by Jean-Claude
was
Van
the
Damme.
dude, yeah.
Right.
So that was the first,
Yeah.
apart from
Yeah,
seeing him
yeah,
in the
yeah.
breakdance, but he didn't know
Was
that
he meant
he
to
was
be like
a
Russian?
yeah,
Was he meant to be
yeah.
a Russian?
A Russian. He was
fighter,
like the
wasn't
Darago of that,
Yeah,
because that was the
yeah.
time of East meets West to
Yeah.
fighting.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
this
yeah,
must have
yeah.
come out like 1985 or something.
Yeah.
So, but it was a kung fu. It's a kung fu Rocky, like
Yeah, yeah,
this
I know.
American guy fighting this Russian guy, trained by Bruce Lee, who came to his house and taught him kung fu.
The ghost of.
The ghost of Bruce Lee came and taught this kid. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you must remember this film. The ghost of Bruce Lee
No retreat.
came down to train this guy, and so he's getting beat up. His brother comes to help him. His brother gets flying kicked, and his black mate. Because in the 80s, you got to have a black mate.
Yeah.
If you're a white dude in the 80s in a film, you've got to have a black mate. And so his black mate was curly perm. He goes, Jace, no retreat, no surrender. And remember, Ice Grizzly wrapped him in the ropes, and
Yeah.
he comes out the
He
ropes,
flips himself round.
flips himself round, and does that famous Bruce Lee and the dragon kick.
Oh yeah, that was like
Sonic
Yeah.
boom kick, let's say.
Yeah. Sonic boom kick.
And that was the film.
yeah.
No Drink No Surrender, corniest film ever. At the time we loved it.
I think I've seen.
Not
it.
really
I
knowing
think I've
John
seen it.
Crawley.
Not
and them
knowing that
Yeah.
John
I
Claude
think that
was
was
going
the
to
first
rise.
film where he done his splits in the ropes
Yeah,
as well, which
yeah.
he does again in Bloodsport.
Not
Kickboxer,
knowing
whatever.
Van Damme's going to rise into the star that he became.
He was just a baddie guy. And
but his
he
first
seemed
proper
Russian.
introduction we've put in corny films, as well as No Drink No Surrender, and that's Kickboxer.
Kickboxer. I think that was late 80s it came
Is it
out.
late- it was late 80s, wasn't it?
89, I think.
But
Just on the
do you
edge
know
of
what?
the 80s.
You know what? I don't know if that's corny because I kind of like Kickboxer.
I kinda like
Wait a minute,
Kickboxer,
Kickboxer's the one when he's kicking the tree down, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, with
Oh
the
yeah, that
shoe.
was corny. I
Yeah,
thought it was Bloodsport.
No, Bloodsport was alright.
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport, okay, USA. Bloodsport's alright.
Oh yeah.
When
yeah,
he goes in the
Kickboxer
tournament.
is corny.
Yeah.
Kickboxer's bad.
Kickboxer's bad.
Was that 90s though?
89. It was 89.
Oh, that was bad.
It was 89.
When he kicked the tree, what this?
Yeah. He learns
want
the
challenge.
ancient art of Muay Thai kickboxing.
Oh, that was so bad.
He's got to revenge his brother's death.
His,
but I can't-
no, his brother didn't get killed. I think he broke his spine or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
That
yeah.
was
His
his
brother
brother
broke him in another
his
fight.
brother like the
yeah.
guy from Hall & Oates.
Yeah.
The other guy.
He
in Hall
was
&
a real professional heavyweight or
Kickboxer.
World light heavyweight. Yeah, kickboxer.
Yeah. He got beat by some Thai guy.
Yeah, you got mash up.
Yeah. And he got trained. And he had a black sidekick old man.
Yeah.
That was so
That
corny.
was bad. It was bad. They wanted originally Chuck Norris to play the main character, which was Kurt Sloan, the main character. I remember now that was the Van Damme character, but yeah, that was bad. It was bad. It's the one. Yeah, I can only remember kicking the tree down. That's about all I can remember for it. Is that the one as well where they fought at the end with the glass like they had rope dipped in gum or something dipped in like.
That's Bloodsport.
Is that Bloodsport?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I think they must have come out quite close.
Yeah, they did.
I do get them
Bloodsport
quite
was the
mixed up.
first time you saw Van Damme. And I wouldn't put that in corny movies.
No, Bloodsport.
I
was
like
alright.
Bloodsport. Was a
I
good
think
film.
it worked for the time, but Kickboxer.
It done well at the box office, 1.5 million to make, and it made just under 15 sort of worldwide, from what I know of. So yeah, it done alright, but yeah, it was corny, man. Probably avenge. I thought his brother died, but yeah, I think you might be right. He got
Yeah, no, he got his back broken.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was it.
Now, Eddie Murphy in the 80s had a string of films. Every film that was coming out, he was doing. It was,
It was gold, man.
It was gold. Beverly Hills Cop,
Hollywood gold
You know.
at the time.
Trading Places, 48 Hours. You know, the Golden Child. Maybe some people may say that's a corny movie of the 80s, but
I think because it was his first PG-rated film.
I kind of liked it.
I liked it
Yeah.
because we were
Golden
allowed to
Child
go
was a
to the
good
cinema
film.
and sit. We didn't have to sneak in because it was a 15 or whatever it was. directed at kids. So it was like, I want to see this. I want to see this Golden Child.
Yeah. So, but some people will say it's corny, but this was definitely corny. This is something, again, as we said in the previous podcast, films that are swept under the mat of people's careers and never to be seen again.
Don't see him,
and that's Eddie Murphy with Dudley Moore in Best Defence.
Best Defence, 1984.
Do you remember that, Stax? Yeah. It was just, you know what? It was just, I don't know. I don't even know what happened.
It's a weird one.
I just remember us being excited, and you, Eddie Murphy. We got excited before. Never Eddie Murphy was
He was a tank driver. He was a tank driver.
Yeah, he was a tank
commander. He was a tank commander, and Dudley Moore was a weapons engineer. But I think the world was set into the film was set into like 2 different time zones, like 2 different worlds. It followed Dudley Moore developing this weapon, and then while it was showing you that story, it flicked to like 4, 5, 6 years later to when the weapon's been developed and Eddie Murphy's driving the thing. So it was confusing.
Yeah, it was
confusing. But it had little Eddie Murphy gold bits that you couldn't help but you see that bit when that happened, and there was only a couple of parts I can remember.
But it's not a memorable movie. It's not a. It just didn't work, man.
Yeah.
It's just he was at the top, man, of all these movies, and then this came out, and he's like, this has got to be good.
This is going to be good,
you know. But the reason why it managed to get swept under the carpet was, I think this is before Coming to America. So Coming to America just
took away took the heat off it.
Took its limelight away.
Yeah.
But what I heard as well, that he wasn't originally in it. The film was more or less done without the Eddie character.
It feels like it.
And
There's
they
no
thought this film's just got nothing to it. Like it needs some other comedy or something. Let's bring someone in. So at a late stage, they brought Eddie into it to do this other story that runs 6 years after whatever the
that kind of makes sense
story.
because it was so bad, man.
Yeah, so he was added after the original version was tested when with audiences they had poor feedback. They thought, let's bring somebody else in. I think that's why they done, and it shows like he been brought into it.
Yeah, that was an horrible.
It was also based on like Iraq invading Kuwait. This is 6 years before the original Gulf War, but that's what they were showing in the film. 6 years later, it happened.
Yeah,
which is
coincidental, isn't it?
And it also, I think the director, is it Willard Hayek, the director? I think it was his second to last film, and the last film he done was Howard the Duck. So this and Howard the Duck, he's never directed since.
Seriously?
From what I've read before, never directed another feature film since.
He directed Best Defence and Howard the Duck.
Yeah, and this is the second to lot before Howard the Duck. He done this.
And the films we just bloody hell.
So this come out in '84. Howard the Duck '86. He's never directed since.
Oh, well, there you go. Two of your films, mate, are in our top 10 corny movies of the '80s.
Willard Hike or Huck, whatever. Yeah.
You know how many films come out in the '80s, and your 2 films got nominated back to back.
Back to back.
Damn. Let's continue this now.
No, there's another bit about it as well. There was a bit I remember hearing that when Eddie was on the David Letterman show once. He in an interview he said that he was paid more for the work to bring him into this film. He got paid more than what he did for 48 Hours and Trading Places put together, which is why he agreed to do it. So that must have been quite a substantial sum there, in it.
He was a big name by then.
He was a big name by then, yeah. But yeah, you could tell he was sort of, his bits were added in later. It was a terrible film, man. Terrible
really
film.
Bad, man. Really bad. Now this next one could be controversial because a lot of people might consider this as a cult classic, and this guy is always involved in cult classics, and being in The Thing, being in Escape from New York, and also being in Big Trouble in Little China. That's Kurt Russell, man. Big Trouble in Little China. Look,
it's a good film.
It was a good film at the time.
It is corny though.
But you watch it again.
It is corny.
Have you watched it again?
Yeah, I have.
Nah, what? How long ago again?
Good couple years ago.
Mate, it's corny.
The story's cool. There's some corny bits in it. I remember the bit when he shoots up and the rocks hit him on the head.
Yeah, it's
like,
just,
they're proper corny, but
it's just the man blowing up at the end.
That was hilarious.
It just wasn't going anywhere. It's just like they got excited about the whole kung fu thing was coming into Hollywood now. And
I'll tell you what I heard about kung fu. That the film was meant to be originally a western. It was originally designed and written as a western, and it was going to be the same.
And still be called Big Trouble in Little China.
Well, no, it was going to be called something else, but it was still going to be Jack Burton. Probably Little Texas. Or, still going to be Jack Burton, and it was going to start. He rides into town on his horse. Someone nicks his horse, and the rest of the film's him getting his horse back, which was the story of that. Wasn't it? Someone put the girl, and he was.
So you comparing a girl to a horse?
Yeah, that's how it was
truck.
written.
Remember they had his truck.
They had his truck.
Yeah.
They did take his truck.
Yeah, they took his
Is that what
truck.
he was trying to get back?
Yeah, that's what
He wasn't trying to get some girl back.
Oh yeah, all he's after was the truck, but the Chinese guy was after his girl.
Yeah, because she had green eyes or something like that. They wanted to do
Yeah.
some kind of ritual or something.
Yeah.
So she tagged along with him, and he's like, "No, I just want to get my truck back."
It was just the truck. So yeah,
I thought it was a good film.
So the truck replaced the horse.
But then I know nothing about films.
Nothing about that. It's good.
You only watched it a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
No, I watched it when it came out, obviously, but I liked it, so I watched it again.
No, I've seen it a couple of years ago. I've seen it. It must be about 10 years ago or something. And it just felt corny, man. I remember liking it at the time and thinking, wow, because back in them time, there's always a sequel, and this didn't have a sequel. So it left that mystery, even with that little beast at the end being on the back of his truck.
Oh, yeah.
That's how the film ends.
We're
on the Pork Chop Express, and he's doing his bit, and then the beast is
down with rain. And,
yeah,
I love them scenes.
But if you check the film again, there's 3 guys from Mortal Kombat,
Mortal Kombat got taken. They based
all those
it
guys.
on
Yeah, that was exciting to see all that. And
see, it's a good film.
no,
It is a good film.
No,
It's a
look
good
at
film,
it again. Look at it again. You'll see the corn. You'll see the cheese dripping from the stage set, man. It's wrong, man.
It got released around the same time as Highlander, and Kurt Russell apparently turned down the role to be the main Highlander.
He should have been Highlander.
He should have been Highlander and tried that out.
Yeah.
He apparently turned that down.
That would have worked.
And I think that took
better.
the release of Highlander took a lot of the glory away from
But Big Trouble in
Big
China
Trouble
was
doing any good.
there were 2 different certificates. But Big Trouble was like a PG for us, and Highlander was like 15. 18.
Yeah.
So like adults had that, and we had Big
Yeah.
Trouble. Look, at the time it was good, but reflecting back on it now,
It was the fourth time John Carpenter and Kurt Russell worked together as well.
Thing.
Yeah, The Thing.
Escape from New
Escape
York.
from New York.
Yeah.
Escape from LA.
Yeah.
They done a film Elvis back in '79, which I've not really heard of, but yeah.
And it's funny how it's just all become cult films. They're a combination, there's a certain feel to those types of films.
I'd like to see a cowboy version of it now.
So what you got, man? What's next?
Next one's a Disney film. Yeah, Disney films don't normally make it on lists, but they had a really corny one. I think again this creeps into the 80s. It's 79, but I think I saw it maybe 82, 83. It was one of them ones that you could rent from DER, from one of them shops you don't see anymore. It was
Betamax. It always had a Betamax.
It was one of them classic, them rubbishy video shops. Always had this one, man. It was Black Hole.
Black Hole.
You don't see it much on TV no more. You don't really. It's not really advertised as a Disney film.
Yeah,
But
no, it's on the
Hole
Disney Channel at the moment.
Did they show it?
Just recently. It's on Disney Channel.
We would watch it,
and
man.
I tried to watch it.
It's for all the 50-year-old people to watch.
Yeah, I tried to watch it, and it was just you could see like Star Wars had just come out, and everyone's on the space bandwagon.
Yeah.
Disney thought like we're a big company.
It was definitely a rip, not a rip off, but they were trying to get into that
space, market, and
yeah,
it was just the theme tune was bad. You know I'm big on my theme tune. This is like so dreary. Like,
it's almost like
I wanted to go to
BBC.
sleep.
It was almost like another Blake 7.
Yeah, it was bad, man. It had these robots that tried to be like R2D2.
The little flying one.
Maximilian was the only attraction to
the
it.
evil robot was its main thing. It had some like spinning blades on its hands, and I remember like obviously back in them days, or a bit after these days maybe, the toys were big. Like you had to have a toy line to go with the film, and this had a toy line, and it didn't do very well. But nowadays, if you've got that Maximilian, the little Star Wars size figure size of it, man, that's worth some dough these days.
Black Hole. The only image I've got of that film is when there's a big
walking across a bridge,
and a big boulder looks like the sun.
Yeah,
is coming towards them. Indiana Jones,
like
Rockstar, and they have to cross this bridge, and you see the silhouettes of them running
and
across
the two little
this
robots.
bridge, and the 2 little robots flying.
One that was always damaged looking.
Yeah, an old one and a young one, and they had these funny guns with 2 ends that fire 2 lasers.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Like,
yeah, and it was just such a weak film, but
can't remember the story.
As I say, it was about space, you know, and they tried to get on the Star Wars bandwagon, the Star Trek bandwagon, and it was just weak. It was weak. So you know, 50 years later, whenever Disney goes, buy Star Wars then.
Yeah.
That was one of Disney's early attempts to try and something for the adults. If you like Star Wars, you're going to like this, but it wasn't nowhere near as good. For a Disney film, yeah, it was terrible, man.
And staying on, like, the whole sci-fi thing, this next film, apparently I heard that one of the producers of this was on the set of Return of the Jedi. And so he decided to create this other space film based on the book. Getting a load of Hollywood stars, even Sting got involved. And they thought it was going to be a smash hit. And it was Dune.
Dune, yeah.
What year did that come out? Do you know?
Frank Herbert's books are based on 84.
Do you remember Dune, Stats?
I do.
Come out.
The Sand Dunes, who was writing big lizards and
Again,
I remember I was into it.
massively
advertised.
promoted.
Big
Yeah.
promotion at
Big
the time.
promotion.
I was into it when
The film
it
was
was
quite.
on.
I thought the film was a massive letdown.
I thought it was a massive.
I didn't like the film at all. Didn't like the costume
See, I
design.
don't remember much of
It
it.
had some big worm thing, didn't it? That come out of the dunes, the sand dunes.
Yeah, the Sand Dunes.
Yeah, I do remember there was a lot of promotion.
Did it have some singing going on in it? I know.
No, I didn't know.
Didn't
The
have
Sting was in
singing,
it, but he didn't sing.
I'm getting confused one with David Bowie.
You're getting confused with Labyrinth again. You always get confused with Labyrinth. But no, Dune.
Everyone was trying to do their version of Star Wars,
Yeah,
weren't they? at the
but
time?
apparently
Dunes
they are
didn't work.
remaking. They are remaking Dune. They're gonna remake Dune and make it the film they wanted to make. In the 80s.
Originally how they were intending. Yeah,
I
'cause
think-
it definitely. I switch off from that. I can't watch that.
Yeah, but again, I think they went over budget. You know, big sets and stuff, and the story just wasn't right.
I remember seeing it at the time and liking it at the time, but I haven't seen it since.
Again, it had figures come out, and the figures were in a lot of the toy shops at the time. I remember seeing the big worm, a guy dressed in like a maroon colour thing, which must have been the lead guy, and a weird-looking guy with something on his face, which must have been like some sort of bad character. But yeah, it was shot in the Mexican desert, and they had 200 workers. They spent 2 months hand clearing like 3/4 square mile bit where the set was going to be, hand clearing it, flattening it all. 200 people they employed to get that done. But yeah, it weren't one of my things. Patrick Stewart was in it as well, but I don't watch it enough to.
Yeah, I couldn't remember.
No.
All I remember is Sting being in it.
Yeah, well, that's how I heard Patrick Stewart was in it. 'Cause I heard that when he first met him on set, he's like, "Oh, yeah, who are you? Are you an actor?" Whatever. And Sting was like, "No, I'm in a band." And he's like, "Oh, have I heard of him?" He's like, "He's the Police," and he thought that he was from a police band, not the police.
right.
He thought he worked in a police band. Like, so yeah, that's how I know Patrick Stewart. Yeah, but I weren't that interested in that, man. But again, it flopped. 40 million budget to do, and worldwide it made 30. So yeah, it was a flop, man.
Damn.
But yeah, I did hear there was a part 2, or not part 2, a remake, which probably won't be that interested in watching.
Yeah. Now, there was such an influx of horrors that come in, but there was a certain type of genre of horrors that came in, and that was like creature horrors.
Like,
So, like,
sci-fi horror, sort of spacey monster alien.
Monsters from space coming down. So you had gremlins, you had critters. You even had troll. You even had a big dude. You had predator. You had all these aliens coming down to kill and eat people on Earth. So everyone wanted to get on the bandwagon. All these independent production companies started to bring out all these little alien creature films, and some hit the mark, some didn't. But the Ghoulies, man, they remember the Ghoulies.
Yeah.
You can't forget the Ghoulies.
I don't even know if they crash landed from another planet, did they? Where did they come from? I just remember it was like the same little alien
They were
that was in V.
ancient demons. I think they were summoned back through a gate or a portal. It was one of them
Something
sort
like
of
that,
films.
yeah.
I don't think they came from another planet.
Okay.
They were brought back like how them troll sort
Yeah.
of films. Like, you bring them through from another dimension.
That's how the critters came about.
Yeah.
They were from another dimension, weren't they?
No, they come
Or
from
Critters
space.
comes from space. That was Pat Sharp again looking for him.
the Krites.
Oh, no crates.
Yeah.
Yeah, he come looking for him. No, I remember Ghoulies because of the poster. That was the
all I
main
remember-
thing that attracted me.
Yeah,
to
I
Ghoulies was
remember
the poster.
watching-
All I remember is the full coaster.
You remember the posters, though?
With the ghoulies
braces.
coming out the toilet.
Toilet. The toilet.
I remember, again, that was another entertainment and video. I remember us seeing that cover.
Yeah.
When we used to watch entertainment video films, we used to see trailers of all the films that are coming out. And Ghoulies coming soon, Triple X. Used to come on the screens, and I remember some dude went in the toilet and he started screaming. And he ran away, and then out of the toilet is that image of the Ghoulie with his braces and his t-shirt.
It's funny because that got added after. that got added after. 'Cause somebody come up with the idea when they were advertising it of doing, let's have a poster of it jumping out of a toilet or creeping out the top of a toilet. But that wasn't actually in the film at the time. So the poster was such a huge, they thought, it's going to be a huge success that they had to go back and do a scene where it pops up out of the toilet just so it tied in with the film.
Oh wow! Yeah, that poster was like got people going, "What the hell is this all about?" Like the film was so
It was bad. It was bad.
So, and I think they had a couple sequels as well.
Yeah, they did have Critters too. There is a scene. No, not Critters. Ghoulies. There is a scene in Critters. That's what I would said it. That, where one of those come out the toilet, and that's like in homage to Ghoulies, going back
is
to
it?
Ghoulies.
Yeah, there's a scene with that.
1986 that come out because Ghoulies was over before.
Would you put Critters into the corny films today?
It was corny, wasn't it?
It was corny.
It was as corny as what Ghoulies is.
It was corny.
Just bring that in there.
I think Critters is maybe a little bit better.
It had the Pat Sharp
just a little bit better.
It had corny saying.
Yeah, get in that corny bin. Go on.
We're adding Critters.
Little critter.
You want the Krites. Ghoulies also means small monster in Persian. Where they get Ghoulies.
I thought they were linking Ghoulies because they had the man's nuts.
Yeah. So in the UK, Ghoulies means something totally different.
Yeah.
Get kicked in them.
Kicked in the Ghoulies.
I haven't heard someone use that phrase in a long
That's
time.
things you don't say anymore. See?
Kicked in the Ghoulies. We've got to do some more phrases. There's a few more phrases to come. But yeah, another film. Do you remember a film? I liked the concept of it at the time, and I'm sure it was like advertised as a horror. About somebody they flushed down their baby alligator down the toilet. It was in New York, wasn't it? Set in New York, I think.
Yeah.
And it lived in the sewers.
That was a great film.
And I'm sure it didn't eat rats that had been given something, or rats that had been infected by something to make them grow giant, and it made the thing grow giant.
I can't remember the story. I just remember there was a garden party and he came to the party and scared everyone, and they showed it as a trailer, like on Pebble Mill 1 or something. Now in the film Ghoulies, let's take a look at a clip. I remember seeing an alligator walking through a garden party and being freaked out in the daytime.
I remember the scene. Yeah, I remember.
That's all I remember. I don't think I've ever seen an alligator.
I remember it. I quite liked it.
I thought it was, like you said, the pet alligator thrown down the toilet, but it was the pollution that was in the sewer that made it grow big or something.
It was something to do with injected rats. There was rats that had been injected by some laboratory, and they'd been discarding of the rats down the sewers. And it was in Chicago. It was set in Chicago, and the alligator ate the rats, which made him grow into a gigantic.
The alligator was wicked, man.
And that escapes the sewers and starts going on the rampage.
I don't remember seeing it. Probably seen bits of it. I don't remember it.
I'm sure you might have seen it.
It's probably corny now, but at the time it was a big movie.
Yeah, it was big. It was big at the time. James Horner was due to do the score, but something happened. I don't know if they couldn't afford it. Something happened. Yeah, Piranha was another one that almost made it on the list.
Yeah.
Just before, there's too many, because there's a lot of those sort of films we could talk about. The Piranhas and
Piranha
the
was a big film, though.
Piranha was good at the time.
But when I look back on it, I think, okay, let's throw it all into one basket.
Yeah.
Films with killer animals.
Killer animals.
Films with killer animals.
Gigantic animals.
Films with killer animals, right? So you had the Swarm.
I like Swarm.
Was that corny?
I don't know. I kind of like Swarm.
Was that Killer Bees or something?
Yeah,
Killer Bees.
Same thing. I think
Swarm was wicked.
Trilogy, like.
Swarm.
But the birds, but that's early.
Yeah, that's the birds. Yeah, the birds.
That's a 60s
Crows.
one, isn't it? The what?
Crows. Was there crows as well?
Crows.
That'd be the birds, probably.
That's
I think they were crows.
So you had the Swarm, you had Piranha, you had Cujo.
Cujo was one there, the mad dog.
The mad dog. You had Rabid. What's this film called? Rabid or something?
Yeah. Wasn't that film in Hammersmith?
Was it?
Yeah, there's the King's Mall. There's a scene where the dog's trying to get at someone, and he goes into the King's Mall, shuts the doors, and the dog's like foaming at the mouth at the door.
Oh wow!
That's a Hammersmith.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a little spate of these little.
But there was an influx of. I swear there's one called Killer Ants. I swear there's one with ants. And this is just black people. I'm sure there was 80s Killer Ants. But didn't the 80s make you be scared of piranhas?
Yeah.
80s was the
sharks, piranhas.
Yeah, but sharks and piranhas were the two deadliest fish you could ever imagine.
You ain't going in the Amazon, you ain't going Australia.
But the thing about piranhas, they were so like vicious. Because you couldn't believe that something could eat meat that
something so small with little mouths are going to rip you apart.
Yeah, and when the films brought out the flying ones.
Flying piranha. That was like Piranha 2, Flying Piranha.
That was the flying kind.
Yeah.
Ready triple X.
Nah.
And now
Oh,
they've now
mate.
The second one was cat.
to
The
the
first one
Caribbean
was
and
good.
they
Yeah,
wings.
and they started flying around in the Caribbean eating people. Oh my
And they put
God.
that noise on it when they started eating. You know that like high pitched.
Oh my God. Yeah, there's piranha films, but yeah, the piranha films are swarm films.
They were corny. They were all good. They were good to watch, but they were all corny.
They were corny.
The
man.
effects, the storyline, they were all corny. But
Yeah.
you know, we liked them.
We liked
Liked
them.
them.
What else we got?
Bryan Cranston from Breaking
Bad.
Bad. He's credited in Alligator as well as production assistant for special effects department, which is another little bit of trivia.
So I think that wraps up our second part of Corny Movies. Or is there any more?
For the 80s,
The 80s.
we should go into the 90s
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, we will. We will on the next podcast.
Should we do 90s next?
Yeah, we did 90s next. Maybe. But we may.
Right.
But you know what? There's so many corny movies. We could even do a part 3
Yeah.
at some point of the 80s. But
We've covered about good 20 odd now in the
Yeah,
last two, in
yeah.
this one and the last one. So
So if you guys want to leave comments and tell us if you agree with our list of corny movies, or you want to tell us the ones we missed
what's
out.
on
what
your
you think's
list?
corny.
Yeah, what's on your list?
Just let us know.
Let us know. We're doing next part 3.
Old Skool Movements, Mr. Lucas.
I'm Chris.
Stacks. We out.
Till next time.